Now, you think about the traditional role of MRI in Alzheimer's disease. We're there to exclude treatable causes, right? Patients got cognitive impairment. Do they have a big meningioma? Do they have normal pressure hydrocephalus? Is there something else going on? And then if you were a little bit more sophisticated and tuned in, you might be doing quantitative assessment of brain volume changes, these AI-driven packages, which are really very good at doing brain segmentation. Here you can see you can see some of the individual structures that these softwares can actually segment for you, and they leverage artificial intelligence and deep learning to improve the quality of that segmentation over time. But essentially, you compare the brain volumetrics, the critical structures that are involved in, say, Alzheimer's disease or in other conditions. Dr. Johnson talked about using the same quantitative AI-driven tools for following up multiple sclerosis. In this case, you look for brain volumetrics that may point to a certain degenerative brain condition that could be helpful in terms of identifying which dementias there are. In this case, we're looking for the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease, which would be appropriate for this therapy. There are certain volume loss phenotypes that you can sort of hand wave your way into saying, this is what this is. In Alzheimer's disease, you can see we typically get hippocampal and temporal atrophy. The frontal lobe is typically spared and the parietal lobe can be involved. Not a lot of white matter lesions. In frontotemporal dementia, typically you'd expect there may be some hippocampal involvement, but the greatest involvement is going to be frontal and temporal, with no parietal involvement and typically no white matter lesions. Diffusion of Lewy bodies, the dementia of Lewy bodies doesn't have any classic anatomical patterns. You can see a number of different things. And the vascular dementia, as you might expect, lots and lots of white matter lesions, perhaps with some temporal lobe or hippocampal involvement.